Reprogramming. All right.
Reprogramming.
Reprogramming for your health, for wellness, for fitness, healthy aging, longevity, athleticism. Sometimes we fall off and we have to find our way back. And it's actually quite simple, although difficult. If it were easy, then everyone would get it done. But I'm going to get right to it without uh, dilly dallying, as it's said. And so here it is. One of the things that I've noticed, I'm a clinical hypnotist. I have a degree from the Hypnosis Motivation Institute in Tarzana, California. You can look them up, hypnosis.edu. They not only have their professional clinical hypnotherapy program, but they also have an associate's degree in mind body wellness. They are recognized by the Department of Education, all that stuff that people think is important. They've been around for about 50 years now, and I graduated over 20 years ago in 2005. Well, I got my diploma in 2006, so let's just say it's about 19 years. And from that, I created Hypno Athletics. I was already a fitness trainer, and then I got the degree in clinical hypnosis, and I put the two together, and I got Hypno Athletics. So that's where a lot of this comes from, seeing the similarities between physical training and mental programming. And so nowadays, with the technology that we have, I saw some interesting similarities between how the algorithms online, specifically social media, have changed to the point where they are able to be hacked or reprogrammed in the same way that we clinical hypnotists work with our clients for them to go from where they are, zero, to where they want to be, hero. And that is a really fascinating and exciting part about this. And really, what it has to do are with the two laws of hypnosis, which are repetition and association. And starting with the physical analogy of this, repetition is just like how you would do at a gym, right? If you're going to do push ups, if you can, you'll do more than one. Just using that as an example, or a body weight squat. So you'll do, let's say, 10 push ups. That means 10 repetitions. And because push ups are designed to strengthen your chest and your triceps, mainly, although there's a whole group going on there, the shoulders and everything like that. But the associated muscle are the triceps and the chest. And the associated result, right, of doing repetitions for those muscles in that position, the push-ups, are you will have either stronger, bigger, more endurant muscles, so on and so forth, right? So repetition and association, everything you repeatedly do has an associated result and is also associated with something that happens concurrently, whether it be a noise, a scent, a sound, another person. There's something always associated with everything that you do. You, like, for example, you associate every night you repeat the act of going to sleep in your bed, so you associate your bed with sleep, right? And the way that what's really fascinating and exciting for someone like me is that I encourage people to use this practice and not deal with like fitness trainers or hypnotists, clinical hypnotists anymore, if you've ever been thinking of working with somebody like that. And those are the things that I do. I'm saying, hey, you don't have to, because now technology is set up in a way to do it for you. You see, the social media companies thought they were slick, right? And they thought that they could trap you and capture you, which they do, and keep you stuck on their particular channels. What now has happened, and you might have heard people complaining about, oh, my friends and my family don't patronize my business. They don't like or comment on or share my stuff on social media. And there's a very specific reason for that, because social media has been shifting to what's known as an interest graph, right? It used to be that you would see content from people that you're following or who you're friends with or otherwise connected with on social media. However, that changed, and the algorithms have changed to follow your interests, and it's called an interest graph. So that's why you'll go on there, and if you start looking at stuff like, I'll use my interests, for example. So I look at things that have to do with martial arts and music and metaphysics and marketing, all those M's, right? And because of that, every time I log on, I get martial arts and music and metaphysics and marketing. It shows up in my feed continually. And every once in a while, something will try to sneak in. Like, for example, if I'm watching a music video from one of the artists that I like in a heavy metal band, and there happens to be a cat in the video, and the cat is prominent in the video, and they might even talk about the cat in the song, then what might happen is I might get crept into my feed, might be videos about cats. And, that's fun because, you know, those cat videos and stuff like that are funny and they're entertaining, right? But because I don't want to spend my time laughing at cat videos, because for some reason, for me, I'm one of these people that gets excitement and finds fun in things that people would normally consider to be productivity or, you know, personal development and human excellence and all that stuff, which is why my interests lie in, you know, metaphysics, marketing, martial arts, and music. And these are all things that I practice. And so the hack to this is that because that's the way it works, and I'll explain this very quickly, it's simply the artificial intelligence that is now running these social media algorithms is simply programmed to monitor how much time you are spending on a particular type of content. And then it calculates, oh, this person has spent over a minute watching this video about martial arts. So they must be interested in martial arts. And so that's the interest graph. So they'll send you more stuff about martial arts. If it's music, more stuff about music. And the longer the time you spend on a certain type of content, the more the artificial intelligence algorithm calculates that that's what you are interested in. And that's what programs the interest graph. And if you haven't already noticed, therein lies the rub. There's the hack of how you can reprogram that to your best interests, to help you to consistently achieve the results that you desire, to help you go to, as I said, hero from zero. So you can go from zero to hero with this, right? Because I look at it, if you look at it from this perspective, all of those hundreds of billions of dollars being spent on AI, and it is really nothing more than a glorified, high-tech content playlist creation system. Except you don't directly program your playlist like you would select different songs and put them on the playlist. Because the same songs don't always come back on repeat, right? It's the same type of content that gets put on your interest graph playlist. And so if you haven't noticed already, what I'm getting at is that what you do is you very intentionally and very deliberately curate the type of content that you are watching. You find yourself going down rabbit holes on stuff that's not going to be in your best interest, that does not support your health, wellness, fitness, longevity, healthy aging goals, and so on and so forth, then you swipe away from that and you select the things that will. One way you can do that is by creating a playlist or a tab, or various different social media have things where you can save items, and so you just consistently save those things, and then you go into your saved items and you start watching and looking at those. If you are one of these people that you find yourself on social media a lot, then you do that. You curate the content that you want to look at, and you start there, and the stuff that is going to be in your best interest, and then you can go out into the live feeds, and you'll notice that it will start to feed you the things based on what you have curated your playlist to be. And you can continue to do that, and it will continue to feed you those things on your playlist. Now, this is how the interest graph works. And this is how, as a clinical hypnotist, we work with clients. So let me explain to you that process. So somebody comes in and they have a bad habit that they don't want to engage in anymore, which might be, overindulging in sweets. So they come to me and they say, okay, I'm overindulging in sweets. So we have a conversation, I do some onboarding, I interview them, I talk to them, and then we start the hypnosis session. I do a little bit of a test. So something that we call like an arm raising or arm levitation, which is both a hypnotic test, a suggestibility test, as well as an induction. Then we might do something like the Nancy technique or progressive relaxation, where maybe from head to toe we'll start to relax their body, or from toe to head, whichever they're most comfortable with, that we find after the interview. Then from there, we start giving them some deepening techniques. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. When I snap my fingers with your permission and your permission only, you'll go quickly, calmly, and deeply, and your physical body will relax. And then we start with the suggestions about making better decisions about what they're eating. For example, like when you decide that you're going to reach for that cookie, instead remember that you have another option, that you can eat an apple or a banana or drink some water or what have you, right? And then we might do some more deepening techniques. We might install some anchors, which will then act as post-hypnotic suggestions that they can trigger later by touching the ear, touching their nose, or saying a word to themselves or out loud to bring back the suggestions and the imagery that we may have practiced during the session. And then we re-arouse, we reawaken the person, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. And so that's the session. And then after the session, I give them a recording so they can revisit the session on their own. This is the repetition part that I talked about earlier of the two laws of hypnosis, which all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So it's the laws of self-hypnosis, repetition and association. And then maybe give them something to read about these different healthy habits, something short, right? Again, more repetition to reinforce the suggestions. And then give them some different rituals and teach them how to use their triggers or their anchors so they can recall and use it as a post-hypnotic suggestion to bring back the associations with practicing those better habits, right? And then by the time they've done all that, it might be time for the next session, either a couple days later or the next week, and we do it again. And so you see, basically, it's like a playlist that I've given them, that they put that on repeat over and over again to reinforce the positive, healthy suggestions until they see me again, if ever, right? And that's the same thing that happens with the playlists that are created through the social media algorithm, which is now run on what could be called an interest graph. And you can look that up, interest graph. And I've also published a lot of stuff on that. And now here's the final part of that, which is really, really exciting. Because, well, for a creator like me, what's really exciting, and it's also something that you can practice yourself too. I found also that not only does the interest graph artificial intelligence run algorithms respond to what you are consuming online, but get this, it also responds to what you publish. So if you share something about healthy aging, wellness, longevity, athletic longevity, fitness, all that stuff like that, if you share those things on your timeline or your feed or whatever, or send it to your friends, the algorithm, the artificial intelligence picks that up and sends you more stuff like that which you are sharing. And it also does it even more creator of that content. So if you write a small blurb about something about healthy aging, wellness, or fitness, and you put that on your feed, then more of that is going to come to you. One way that I found you can do this really simply to keep it short. Is I've been a practitioner of the fine art of writing haiku for a very, very long time. I have a book that was only an offline publication. It was self-published called Serena Wears Black, which is a haiku publication. I distributed a few thousand copies back in 2005. And then in 2020, another one that went live online called, for free, as a matter of fact, called Hypnotic Wax. And but what I found is that you can write short little 3-line poems. They don't even have to be haiku, but you can fashion it like that, right? 3 lines, 3 short lines about something that is going to support, that's supportive and motivating to you, inspirational to you about your healthy aging, wellness, fitness, athletic longevity, all of that stuff. And you just post that as little notes to yourself. Like how Emile Coué, the physician, used to say things like, day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. And so if you post things similar like that are really short, like notes to yourself that are aiming towards your goals, you're not only going to reprogram the algorithms to follow and give you more things that are in support of your healthy aging, wellness, fitness, athletic longevity goals, but it also begin to reinforce reprogramming yourself so that you can achieve the goals that you desire. That is the reprogramming. And a lot of people, as a clinical hypnotist, a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about what hypnosis is. And I'll offer this perspective that what I've found over a long time, because, I mean, look at this connection that's been made. And this is exactly, if you paid attention to what I said about the process of taking a client in through a hypnotherapy session and all the follow-up that goes through that until the time they come back, you'll see that it's exactly the thing that's happening with these social media algorithms, and it's simply a repetition and association. It's repetition of certain material, and it's associating it with different feelings. Like, for example, you see a person exercising, and you may associate it with, oh, they look good, or they look happy, and that makes me feel good and feel happy. And when you associate those good feelings with those types of exercises and information, you're more likely to do it. And that's the basis of hypnosis and repetition and association. And to demystify it a little bit, you can understand hypnosis this way. There are equivalents, things that are equivalent to hypnosis that we might not think of, because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. We are all completely responsible for our own programming. It's just that we haven't been taught that, and so we don't know what it is. But I created an acronym, PITCH, P-I-T-C-H, to help with that. Hypnosis is simply these things. They're all equivalent: programming, influencing, training, conditioning, hypnosis. PITCH. Programming, influencing, training, conditioning, and hypnosis. Those are all equivalents. And so you can find that these things, you are able to understand that they are the same and realize that it's not some mysterious woo-woo thing about hypnosis. It's really simply the way that we operate. And I intentionally use the word influence because in social media we have influencers, but I could have easily replaced the I with indoctrinate. I could have also even used the letter E somewhere. I don't know how I'd fit that into pitch, but education. Everything that we perceive from the time we were born, and also even before we're born, we have senses then, is what makes up our programming, influencing, training, conditioning, and hypnosis. And we may be able to innovate on those things by mixing them together from our own experience and education and making it our own, in the same way that you would do a research paper, right? And you take all these different sources together and then you rewrite an original piece of content or research paper based off of what you learned and your perspective and your discoveries about it. But it's the same thing that we do every day. We're all like scientists in our own mental laboratories all the time. And that comes in through our senses and what we associate those things with. The same thing. If you burn yourself on a stove, a hot stove, the first time you usually get it. You don't need much repetition from that. But the association of the pain is what teaches you don't do that again. But sometimes we need the repetition. But that's what the basic of this is. And that's how we can reprogram ourselves. The the final word on this is, in order to achieve our goals in healthy aging, wellness, fitness, athletic longevity, is we must be intentional and deliberate about constantly putting before us information that supports those goals. By over and over again revisiting the type of information that is going to support our goals and being intentional and deliberate about that, it is more likely that we'll get there. It helps us to be more efficient in achieving our goals than being distracted by so many other things that pull us to and fro. And that is the science of repetition and association, the laws of hypnosis. It's simple, but it's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it all the time and nobody would ever have any issues of not reading the labels on the food that they eat, of choosing to sit down on the couch and watch TV instead of taking a walk or going to the gym or riding their bike or what have you, or, you know, eating ice cream, instead of something healthier. I don't know, right? We wouldn't be having these issues and then complaining about, why am I feeling this way? I have no energy. I have no stamina. I don't like the way my body feels or looks. So if it was easy, we'd all be doing it. But it is simple. And that's why it's simple to talk about, and to continue to have those kind of conversations with yourself. You just put that information before you over and over again, and then do your best to associate it with the positive benefits and outcomes and the way that you will feel when you achieve your goals. That's the main thing right there, is to, yes, one, repeatedly find information that is in support of your goals. But two, you have to associate it with the feelings, emotions, and other trappings of human psychology that indicate that you have successfully achieved those goals. Because if you if you have the image, let's say you imagine, and I'm not talking about visualization, they're completely different things. Well, actually, I wouldn't say completely different things. Imagine visualization is a subset of imagination. Imagination, we all can imagine things. We just might not all be able to visualize. But if you imagine yourself being more fit, right? Being hero rather than the zero where you are. And this is not a zero meaning put down. It's just simply a way of talking about going from where you are to where you want to be, right? So going from zero to hero. But if you imagine yourself in the hero stage, right? But you have feelings of disappointment attached to that imagination that you won't get there, then what's going to happen is that your behaviors are going to line up to lead you to that disappointing feeling associated with that imagining yourself as the hero. But if you do your best to realign the types of emotions and feelings that go along with having achieved that goal, that's the association that you make repeatedly, then your behaviors are more likely to line up with getting you to the point where you feel like you've achieved the goal, because that's what you've been feeling all along. That's the magic of it. That's the science of it. That's the art of it. That's the all of it, of repetition and association. Repeat what you want to be in your imagination and associate it with the feelings as if you had already achieved it.